of the votes. And then there was Sharon DC, who had 37.2% of the votes. The third woman, Linda White, she had received 18.1% of the votes. Now, Chairman Morrissey had declared that there would be a runoff, and from his position as a convention chair, he basically gave an edict that it would be done by mail, and then changed his mind that it would be finished at the convention, and then changed his mind again that it would be done by mail. And shortly thereafter, they had adjourned the meeting without resolving the issue. Almost 3 months had passed without any form of public action or public notification. 3 months had gone by without contacting Karen Johnson. Now, there was some things going on behind that Morrissey had said that they were going to do an executive committee meeting and do the National Committeewoman recommendations. They had waited after the Republican National Convention to end on Friday, August 31st. And on September 10th, Bruce Ash had announced on the state GOP website, you can go and look at the state GOP website, that the National Committeewoman seat is now vacant. And because it is vacant, they can they have their rules as to how they can go about and resolve that vacancy. Now, let me make it clear that all of this vacancy is, in my opinion, due to the incompetency to complete the vote at the convention, and it's also due by the inaction of letting almost 4 months go by without the state party resolving the National Committeewoman vote. So I put together a couple of points here that had passed in other districts as well, and largely also at the end is to only allow the consideration of the runoff between Karen Johnson and Sharon Giese. So I wanted to bring to your attention that it was the role of the duly elected delegates at the convention to elect the National Committeewoman, and I believe that was subverted. And the National Committeewoman now is going to be chosen by executive committee, not the delegates that were at the party, at the convention. And also, anyone is allowed the door to be open to anyone to take this position, not just the 2 that were supposed to be runoff or the 3rd that was on the ballot. So I wanted to bring this to everyone's attention of what is going on with the National Committeewoman vote, and I strongly urge that we adopt this resolution. Okay. Whereas the Arizona Republican Party provided a convention to conduct the election of National Committeewoman to the 2012 Republican National Convention, according to Arizona bylaws, Article 6, Section D, as it relates to Article 6, Section A. Be resolved, whereas the state party election failed to conduct a runoff election for the National Committeewoman at the state convention. Whereas the state party failed to conduct the runoff election for National Committeewoman via mail ballots as they promised at the state convention. Whereas the state party has now made the decision to appoint a National Committeewoman via the executive committee. Whereas the state party has stripped the duly elected state delegates of their duties to elect a National Committeewoman. Resolved, the party members of the Legislative District 21 Committee condemn the disregard for the duly elected delegates' role in the election of the National Committeewoman position. We request that the 2 nominees for the state convention eligible for runoff, Karen Johnson and Sharon Giese, be the only nominees to be considered as nominees for this position.
All right, so he presented the resolution, and so we're going to open it up for discussion. Each person, if you can time, Mike, can you time, we're going to give 1 minute to pros or cons, or, yes, Lyle?
Need more than that?
Well, we only have so much time, and that's generally the time frame that's given, I'm assuming, or that I imagine, or I should say that I imagine, that I've experienced.
Well, I think it's important that I get at least as much time as she.
No, in this section, you don't need the exact same amount of time.
Let me go forward and explain to you what's going on, because there's a lot of confusion about what's happening. First of all, those of you who were not at the convention, it's correct. We were occupied. There were several states that were occupied. It caused great disruption. It caused the meeting to go way long, and by the time we got to the vote, there was not a quorum. That's why there was no final vote. These distractions did indeed prevent the election of the National Committee, which caused some problems that you folks probably aren't aware of. Our National Committee woman, was the chairman of the Western region. That's a pretty influential and important position. She managed to bring two meetings to Phoenix because of her position on the National Committee. The bylaws were followed. It wasn't a decision, as the resolution indicates. The bylaws are followed. They're clear and plain for people to read, dig through them. There's been a committee formed. I have to be a representative on that committee. And I will tell you that the people had until last night to announce their intent to run for this position. 3 people have put their name forward. This committee is doing their job, is following the bylaws. This resolution should be voted down. It's moved.
My name is Pat Petrini, newly elected precinct committeeman, and I'm not yet familiar enough yet with the rules to comment on whether or not there was not a quorum. I was at the convention. I think that there was some debate about whether there was a quorum, but I do think that we do know what the vote count came to initially, and I do think that it's fair to, since that was one of the roles of the delegates. This is a position that's supposed to be dictated by the delegates. And it is not unfair to say that we go by at least the top 2 that the delegates actually elected, and we asked the committee to make a decision between those top 2 that were elected by the delegates. So that would be my only comment.
Okay, are there any other comments? Debbie? Can you come up here and use the microphone, please?
I don't know if this is legit. It's not really a comment. I just have a question. And to whom is this going to be presented? And do you think that it will? The word condemn, I think, is a little strong. So is this going to the state party chairman? Is that who this is intended for? The state party chairman, and you're directing the nominating committee to just, instead of taking those 3 names, just these 2 names. Is that the whole purpose? Okay, thank you.
What was the answer?
He said yes, that was the purpose. Okay, any other discussion?
When is that going to be done?
When is what going to be done?
The selection or the voting on the candidate?
The state committee was just notified yesterday that the meeting will be on the 29th. So the state executive committee will vote on that day. So not this Saturday, I think it is next Saturday, last Saturday of the month.
How about the 3 new nominees? Who are they? Are any of these people in there?
I'm assuming they're all 3. Yeah. So the 3 people that put their name in were Karen Johnson, Linda White, and Sharon Giese. And at the convention, the top 2 vote getters were Karen Johnson and Sharon Giese. So I think essentially what they're asking, Dracos is asking, is that only those 2 names go to the state committee and not Linda White, correct? Okay. All right, any other discussion? Okay, so then we're gonna go to a vote. Can I, if you're a precinct committeeman, can you please stand up? Can you help me? Can you? 37? Okay, so 37, so that's over 50%. Oh,
Sorry, it may not matter if it's over 50, but I was just gonna recognize that we have some proxy votes to back
Okay.
up as well. So.
thank you. Yeah, it was 37 out of 60. So it passes, it passes. Okay, so we will forward that on. Okay, thank you.